Hi, I'm Nancy, an operator here at the Disney Channel. As you can see, the Disney Channel is designed for today's family. There are series, specials, and movies that you can't see anywhere else. No matter how you look at it, it's a great entertainment value. And right now, that value is even greater because you receive a coupon to get a colorful, contemporary Roger Rabbit watch when you call the Disney Channel's toll-free number during the preview. The watch is absolutely free for new Disney Channel subscribers, so you must act quickly.
Welcome to another installment of Two Rad Dads. I'm Matt.
I'm Sean.
How's it going today, Sean?
Pretty good. You know, I had a little follow-up I'd like to share with you.
Oh, follow-up?
Yeah, a little follow-up. So last week you told us that your son Augie went ahead and got the lasers in his school photos this year, which is a solid choice. Well, the other night I was picking my son up. My parents had taken him to a sports tournament over the weekend. So I pull in, we met at a parking lot, kind of halfway between. And what do you think he was doing when I met them?
Listening to his favorite podcast.
Absolutely, he was. I get out of the car and I'm like, hey, my parents get out of the car. The first thing out of my mother's mouth, I'm going to find that picture of you with those lasers.
Nice. So you did get one.
And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know they were even listening to it, right? So sure enough, my son had put it on in the car. And so my mom claims that she did relent and let me get the lasers at one point in time. So we're going to see if we can dig that photo up.
Nice. And are we putting that on the
Instagram? Yeah, sure.
machine?
If we find it, we'll go ahead and post that along with yours that we had posted a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So
awesome.
But we'll see. So I may be proven wrong here. We'll find out. She seems to think that I did it one time at the end, so we'll find out. The saga keeps continuing on,
That's awesome. I can't believe this. This is exciting.
I feel like I missed the boat this year. I didn't order laser pictures for my kids, so I really got to get on that. Although I think they're green screen, so we could still just get them after the fact.
Yeah, we can steal them from the back of my son's picture and put them on yours.
You know what? Forget that. We're just going to use the background that you have at your house and take a full family portrait.
Exactly.
All four of us, right in front.
Yeah, we'll do that because that's the classic laser background. It looks so much better than the new ones.
Maybe we'll do that thing with the classic 90s family portraits where everyone's kind of looking over there, glancing to the left. Like you're not looking at the camera. Everyone's just, oh, look over there.
Yep.
What's over there? I don't know why we did that.
It's that like the 2:00 look.
Yeah.
Just up at 2:00.
Right. Everyone's looking over yonder. But anyway.
The photographer is squeaking the little rubber ducky over here.
Yeah.
Over here. And everyone's just like, ooh.
Yeah. So just a quick little update on that, to be continued, as we say, right?
Yeah. So I wonder if we're going to get another update next week from one of us.
We may very well.
Regarding the laser backgrounds.
And hey, if you out there have some fun retro photos like that you want to share, don't hesitate. Go ahead. Send them our way. We'd love to see them.
Or just tag us in your Instagram or Facebook.
That's right.
Yeah.
So today, not talking about photos, but back around the same time period as that photo may or may not have been taken, we're going to talk about something that we watched on TV quite a bit as kids. Something that was pretty new at the time, a little different than it is now today.
We're going to be talking about the Disney Channel.
That's right. Not Disney Channel, but the Disney Channel.
Disney Channel.
Right. Pre-1997 rebranding. We're talking about the Disney Channel. If this were a football player, he would have attended the Ohio State University. That's what we're talking about. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like the Facebook when it first came out.
The Facebook. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's another one.
Which you can still go to that web address, by the way, and still get
Can
there.
you?
Yes.
Just forward?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So when did you get the Disney Channel?
So I did not have any experience with it until it was moved to regular cable, right? So in reading about this for this episode, I discovered that it had actually started out as a not just a premium cable channel, but a like pay to play channel, like not quite pay per view, but an a la carte selection, like an HBO.
Yeah,
type thing, where you
HBO,
pay just for the one channel by itself. So there was a separate subscription fee for that one channel alone. I did not have it then. I don't know. I don't really know anybody who did, honestly. I don't think it was very popular under that model. But once they shifted to being just a regular cable channel, and this is around the time when cable, what do we have, like 35, 40 channels? I mean, we didn't have much. I had still been used to using the little knobs on the TV to turn, and I had 4 or 5 channels max.
Yeah, I had my younger siblings to go push the button to change the channel.
Yeah. We had the little knobs you had to turn, and then there was the antennas you had to kind of flip around, and
the rabbit ears. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the little sibling to stand there and hold the antenna, because if they touched it, it came in a lot clearer.
Yep.
So once we switched over and got cable for the first time, I mean, that was like unbelievable. So we didn't just have 5 channels. You know, we had a bunch to start perusing. And when the Disney Channel came on, it was just so different because it was aimed at kids, right? I mean, most of the cable channels at the time were definitely not aimed at children. So it was kind of nice for us to see something that we were the target demographic for. It stuck out.
Yeah, I didn't get it in my house until probably late 90s, I think, is when we got cable. Mid 90s. Before that, I believe, if I remember correctly, my grandmother had it when it was premium channel, right before it went to basic cable. So it wasn't the HBO model, but it was just that secondary add-on plan to get, you know, the next 50 channels or whatever the number was.
Yeah, and it went from a la carte selection down to a standard cable offering, and then it quickly became a premium cable offering where it wasn't in your standard package, but it was in the, you know, expanded
next tier
package. Yeah, that next tier. So we had it for a short period of time, and then we lost it, but I had relatives who had it. So the place that I spent most of my time after school had it. So I got to see it quite a bit.
Yeah. So I really didn't start watching the Disney Channel until probably, you know, I was in high school. Probably it was when I started watching the Disney Channel, when they had, you know, the more teen movies and stuff come out. I was more Nickelodeon. You know, because I was pretty much always basic, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, as far as I can remember, anyway.
Yeah. So I didn't watch too many of the TV shows on the Disney Channel. They're DCOMs, the Disney Channel original movies. I did watch a lot of those. They weren't always the DCOMs. They were the premiere film, the Disney Channel premiere films. They've been rebranded probably just as many times as the channel's been rebranded. But those I watched a lot of. I was more into movies and TV shows when I was younger anyway. So
I have a lot of fond memories of that pre-97 type of channel. So it started out a little bit differently, but once it joined the regular cable ranks, that's the sweet spot right there for me. So, you know, probably I would say early 90s, I guess. And I mean, this is when we were we had the Disney afternoon was like huge, right?
Yep.
The Disney afternoon was a big deal. So you come home from school and they had this afternoon block of programming that was super popular. They had DuckTales, they had Chippendales Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop, Gargoyles. There was a whole bunch that kind of rolled through over time. But yeah, I remember really liking Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, and Tailspin in particular.
Yep.
Those are my three.
Same way.
Yeah. But at the same time, you also had some other shows that were pretty good. Do you remember Kids Incorporated?
I do, yep.
I don't know why I liked that show, but I did. It's pretty good. It was kind of a weird show. It was like these kids, and it was like they worked in their own little nightclub. They were singing and whatever. I don't know who paid to come see them all the time, but they seemed to pack the house quite regularly. You'd have all these crazy hijinks during the day, and then at nighttime, it's showtime. That's right. Jennifer Love Hewitt got her start on that show. Yeah, for sure. And Scott Wolf, also, who she later starred in Party of Five with, was on that show, as well as Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas. So there was some good talent coming through there.
I did not know Fergie was on that.
Yeah, she was Stacey Ferguson. She didn't have the Fergie nickname quite yet. I think if we opened a kid-centric nightclub with no alcohol served and kids just up on stage singing and dancing, I don't think that would do very well as a business venture.
Well, in today's day and age, with nothing much for the kids to do, you never know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, everything closes at 5 o'clock these days. So
yeah,
you give them a little venue to go to for some clean fun. Maybe we're coming up with something here.
Yeah, maybe we are.
New business venture.
We're gonna rip them off 30 years later. Yeah. Come out with a new.
Yeah, well, all these old shows are coming back, so I'm surprised that hasn't come back.
Oh, yeah, Mario Lopez was on that show too, but he was a dancer, not a singer. So there's that. Forgot about him. This is pre-Saved by the Bell, of course. Yeah, the show helped launch some careers, but that's something I think whereas we're talking more, we're going to see more and more people who became superstars got their start in various shows on the Disney Channel.
Yeah. Well, that was also pre-Disney Channel enterprise. I don't know what you want to call it, where it's like, oh, hey, you start on one of our shows. Now you're going to be, go to our record.
Yeah.
Label. And then, oh, hey, you're also going to star in this movie franchise. And, right now, if you're in the Disney realm, man, you're everywhere on everything. They just take you and, shoot you to the moon and here we go.
Right.
Where back then they hadn't quite come up with that formula yet.
Well, it's kind of funny because you had the channel, would find the talent and they'd throw them in a whole bunch of things. Right. But it's actually really similar to what Walt Disney did in the 50s, where you'd have contracts with young actors. They'd find and identify the people and they would sign them to a deal where you're exclusive to my studio. Like, I own you. You're going to do 5 movies and 3 TV shows just with me. He signs like Fess Parker to a contract or something like that. It kind of went away, and then it's almost like they brought that back in a little bit.
Yep.
In the 90s.
Yeah, but at that point, it wasn't as big as it was in the late 90s, early to mid 2000s. Mm-hmm. That's when the synergy was really there.
I think, they had some success with it, and they said, hey, this is this is working.
Yeah, because I think with Kids Incorporated, they missed the boat.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, you look at that.
They helped launch careers that were successful after they left Disney. But yeah, no, it was still a pretty good show. That theme song, it's an earworm. I still remember KIDS. Remember that? Yeah.
I don't really remember that.
you're
I
missing
didn't
out.
really watch Kids Incorporated that often.
If
So
you go hit the YouTubes and see it once, you're gonna it's gonna come right back to you. But oh man, you know what else was really good around the same time was that revival of the Mickey Mouse Club.
Mickey Mouse.
That
yes,
was fantastic. That was really good. I don't know why I liked it so much, but I did. It really, and the joke is I liked the concept of it, but half the stuff they did I had no interest in because it was all like, it was like a sketch show, right? You know, a variety show, I guess is a more appropriate term. But
and you want to talk about talent coming out of
a
show that 92, 93 season.
Insane.
Jeez, I'm crow. Superstars came out of there.
We're talking Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Carrie Russell, Justin Timberlake. I'm trying to think of who else. I know there's more.
JC.
Oh, JC from NSYNC.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it Ryan Gosling?
Oh, Ryan Gosling was on it. You're right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, we're talking people who were huge stars, and still
that was
are,
all in one or two seasons altogether of this show.
I think the best part of that show, for some reason, I think what hooked me right away is like, it was one of the first things that I remember that really leaned heavily into the Memphis Design Group motif, that aesthetic with the crazy colors and geometric patterns and shapes and things. Like, they leaned into it hard, and it had the funky, graphics that just made it seem so now, which now is funny to look back at, right? But at the time, it was just really cool. And they had those ridiculous looking, retro inspired jackets like the old ones, and they'd have the intro at the start of the show where they all introduce themselves. A little circle window pops up and they each, their head pops in and they say their name. They had the big name tags like they were on The Price is Right or something.
Now, did you ever go to Disney World?
Yes.
In that time frame?
Yeah, only not often.
And do the tour?
Yes.
Yeah, because you could do a tour, and while they were filming, you could walk by the stage and watch.
So I had gone once prior to this, and I went once after, and I've got a bunch since then, but it's so completely changed now that it's not like it was. But this show and these other shows that were filmed there at the MGM Studios park, they made me want to go there badly. So like every time they would be sure to tell you this was filmed in front of a live studio audience at Disney's MGM Studios in Lake Buena Vista, Florida, or whatever, right? They had that bumper, and they showed the water tower with the ears on it. And, they really made you want to go there and be part of that audience and see these shows being made. So like they definitely got a lot of kids to tell their parents that they wanted to go down to Florida, take a trip to go see the park. Cause that was new. I want to say it was 1989 that the MGM Studios park opened. And that's where that production facility was. So the park itself was new. And then these shows were being filmed there because they filmed other shows there too. There was Win, Lose, or Draw. Remember that? The Win, Lose, or Draw with the little, they had like the driveway set, like you were playing Win, Lose, or Draw on a sheet of paper in the driveway for some reason. I don't know why, but that was the thing. They filmed some movies. They had an Ernest movie there. I think it was Ernest Saves Christmas, maybe. I'm not sure. It was one of the Ernest movies. Don't quote me on that. It was one of them. But
well, you've seen one.
They filmed a bunch of stuff there,
and they're all great. Yeah,
pretty much. But I mean, they're clear classics. Maybe we'll do an Ernest episode. That'd be fun. But they did. Like they'd show that little clip at the end of each episode showing that tower, and I'd go, man, I want to go there. I want to see this. I want to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah. So on one of my family trips, we did a tour. I forget if it was with my family or if it was one of our company trips that my family would go on, and we did the tour. And I remember walking through that stage and they were filming, and it's like, you had to be quiet. And, and I forget what year it was, but I think it was like 92, 93 when we were there. So it was that's about right. Yeah. Cast that was there. So I went once in the early 90s around the same time as well. I don't remember exactly what year it was. Might have been 92, 94, somewhere around there.
And that was the first time I'd gone to that park. And, you did the whole backstage tour. And yeah, that was great. I missed that. I really wish that they didn't get rid of that. That was awesome. Yeah. But, good things
come to an end.
But yeah, that was a fun show. You know what I remember too fondly about that show is there was always a bunch of singing and dancing and stuff that I was kind of like, I could take it or leave it. But they had some funny skits. It was almost like SNL skits for kids. And then there was that show within a show. Do you remember that? Like halfway through the episode, they just cut and go to, it was almost like a soap opera kind of style teen soap opera show. And I'm trying to remember what it was called. But I remember they would jump to that like in the middle of the episode. And it was kind of a continuing thing where every episode of the Clubhouse, they'd have a little snippet in the middle that had this saga that ran through the whole season. And I don't remember a whole lot about it. I feel like there was an angel or a 50s diner, something. I don't know. My memory's a little foggy on that one. Yeah, the expression you're giving me.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's way over my head.
Tells me that you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea.
All right.
Again,
so
I didn't watch the
listeners-
TV shows that much because we didn't have it at the house. And when we're at my grandmother's, we're usually playing outside because all my cousins and stuff are there. So
this could probably be solved with a Google search, but I didn't think of it until just now in the moment. So listeners, help me out here. If you remember what I'm talking about, send us a message. Tell me I'm not crazy and that this was a thing. And
or
maybe you
tell
have some
them he's
memories about it too.
crazy and still.
Yeah, I mean,
help
that
us
too.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fine too. You're allowed to do that too. I kind of aged out of it pretty quickly though, right? It was kind of like it was hot for a minute and then it was kind of old news pretty fast. But they changed the whole channel too, because in 97, like I talked before about the pre-97 being the focus here, because once 97 hit, they rebranded it as Disney Channel instead of the Disney Channel. And then they split the show, not the shows, but the channel into 3 programming blocks. That's when they had the little kids programming come in with the Playhouse Disney. So that was obviously not aimed at us at that point. Then they had Zoog Disney was in the afternoons. And that was, I think, if I remember right, I think that's when the next group of shows started to come in. And the ones that we were too old for at that point.
Yeah.
The ones with like Hannah Montana and Selena Gomez's show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what that was. The Wizards of Waverly Place, I think.
Yes. Yep.
Even Stevens. Those shows, I think, were around that time period.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe that was around that era, different set of shows, different group of kids. And then you had the stuff coming out with High School Musical and all that stuff. But that was all much, much later. But you had a whole other round of stars that came out of that too, between the Jonas Brothers and Zac Efron and Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez and all them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite the list. Quite the list.
Hey, it's Noah here with this week's Rad Kid Trivia. The first classic Disney animated movie to be shown on the Disney Channel was 1951's Alice in Wonderland, which aired in January of 1984. Just 3 months earlier, the Disney Channel debuted the first original movie produced for the channel. Can you name that movie?
But it was good while it lasted, had its moment. I think now it's mostly little kids stuff. I don't think they focus too much on the tweens anymore.
I think they still do. Okay, because you figure you've got like the Descendants, the zombies.
I have no idea what that is.
The you don't know what the Descendants is?
So you know what? I'm going to rephrase that in. I don't know what they do now, because to be honest,
yeah,
I have no idea.
It hasn't I think their demographics and stuff haven't changed much. The production style has changed dramatically. I am not a fan of the new age broadcasting that they do.
Do tell.
I don't know. I'm a classic sitcom You know, the Boy Meets Worlds, you know,
Yes.
Saved by the Bell, you know, those classic teen shows. Now everything is like, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, but the production it's more comic-y than like down to earth.
I think I know what
and
you
it's
mean.
I think it's more
More over the top.
More over the top, and it's more, I think, single cam versus multicam. So it's just different, and some of the
I think some of the situations maybe are more ridiculous. They're less believable.
Like the parents are always so
Stupid
and naive.
Yeah, that is a big difference. Like, I think that changed around then, because when we were kids, I don't remember that really being the case very much. Most of the shows we saw in the 80s and at least the early 90s, the parents were still authority figures.
Yeah.
They were in some cases to be feared and, you know, respected. Not always, you know, obviously there was always, you know, exceptions to that. But all of a sudden there was a huge pivot to the parents are absolute morons. And, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of in between.
Yeah. It's not like just the, you know, I'm an idiot person. It was the exaggerated, you know, to the nth degree, rather than just being like, all right, this person is just naive and doesn't know anything.
Yeah, the naivete.
It can't get out of their own way. Now it's just like it turns into this big farce, and it's like, come on, like I can't stand.
You can only suspend belief so far before it's like, I know I'm watching a TV show, but come on,
yeah, and that's why, like, I'm big on the older shows, you know, the sitcoms from the 80s. The 90s, you know, some of them started getting crazy. You know, if you look at like,
a lot of them did
the Malcolm in the Middle type shows, you know, that start going over, but it was still kind of believable that it was a real family situation. But you look at these kids shows now, and it's just like so over the top. The big, bright, bold colors and like the makeup is ridiculous, and it's just so over the top.
Well, I think in a lot of them, they know that their target is kids. So they make the kids in charge, right? In the show, in the world of the show, it's all about the kids, and they run the show, not the parents. The parents are just along for the ride.
But that's also another reason why these shows don't last more than 2-3 seasons, if you're lucky. Because your target audience is like so tight, and these actors, you know, they can only fit that role for a short amount of time, and then they, you know, grow up, and then you don't believe their character anymore. So it's like a churn and burn now of these shows, rather than, hey, we're gonna make it for, you know, 8 seasons. You know, we're gonna go for that syndication 100 episode mark.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh yeah, you know, if we get 2 seasons, awesome. You know, 20 episodes, awesome, because the shows too nowadays, 13 episodes, maybe 18 episodes, where in the 80s, 90s, you know, a season was anywhere from 22 to 28 episodes.
They don't make them like they used to.
They don't. Man, we're aging ourselves more now.
We really are. We're a couple of guys yelling at clouds over here.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Yeah. But that's okay.
So, yeah.
Noah here, back with the trivia answer. In October 1983, the Disney Channel aired its first original movie, Tiger Town. Don't worry, I've never heard of that either. I guess it can't be too bad. It did win the Cable Ace Award for Best Dramatic Film. The movie centers around an aging baseball player for the Detroit Tigers and a young fan who believes in him, makes a wish, and becomes a good luck charm for the team, which can't seem to win without him in the stands. Wait a minute, haven't I seen that one? But I thought it was the Angels.
Well, I got a couple of fast facts this week. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to touch on before I jump into those.
No, go right ahead.
All right, I get a couple, not as many as usual, but I get two. One's pretty juicy though, so it kind of makes up for the lack in number. So the first one I'll give you is that as of 2019, there were 47 different Disney channels available in 33 languages worldwide. It's quite a few. And I think part of that's obviously the international audience, but at the same time, it kind of also shows that they've changed their model from one channel as it started, marketed to everyone, from little kids to tweens to adults who wanted to see retro 50s Mickey Mouse Club, Zorro, and Disney Vault features and all that stuff. It's all being pretty much split into different channels. So you got Disney Junior, and you've got, Disney was XD, and all these different channels, which kind of is smarter and makes a lot more sense. But at the same time, now we can do that because we've got, hundreds of cable channels instead of 35.
Well, that, and they have the budgets and stuff. When they launched the Disney Channel, they didn't have that much money to throw around at this. So it's like, hey, we have this content already. Let's just kind of put it in blocks for, the kids, the teens, the adults, and, we'll run with it. And then after they saw how successful it was being, that's like, all right, here we go. Let's start the production.
That's a good point, because when it started in 1983, they only had 18 hours of programming a day. They had 6 hours a day that were just off air. So,
which most channels did that. After your 11 o'clock news, boom, static was on.
And that was even network TV, never mind cable channels, right? So it's definitely easy to see where they would go, okay, I've got 18 hours a day to fill. What's in the catalog, right? What do we got that we can roll out here? So that does make a lot of sense. And then you kind of figure out what works, test some things out, and then boom, that's what I'm going to make more of. So the second, and in this case, final fun fact of the week is that in 1988, there was a little TV show by the name of Good Morning, Miss Bliss. You may have heard of this. I'm sure you've heard of this.
I have, and I love it.
A lot of people have heard of this show. It debuted on the Disney Channel. However, it was canceled after only 13 episodes due to low ratings. In 1989, the show was picked up by NBC, retooled. They kept several of the actors, including Haley Mills, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Dennis Haskins, Lark Voorhees, and Dustin Diamond. And they turned that show into, what is it?
Saved by the Bell.
You got it. Saved by the Bell. So the precursor to Saved by the Bell, the original version, before it was modified and became what it ended up being on NBC, actually debuted on the Disney Channel. So there you go.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I had thought it was ABC pre-Disney merger. I did not know it was the Disney Channel.
Yeah, I did not know that either. I will be first to admit that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know this either until about yesterday. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd obviously heard of that show. I think that's a fairly well-known tidbit that Saved by the Bell started as Good Morning, Miss Bliss, focused around Haley Mills's teacher character. But I did not know that it started on the Disney Channel. I guess I missed those 13 episodes.
I've watched them. They're part of the Saved by the Bell package now. So,
right. I just mean in 1988. Yeah. So that's all I got for fun and fast facts this week.
Awesome. Well, that last one was a doozy, so it counted for a few. So
yeah, it's like a double, right? It's a juicy one.
Yeah.
It's Disney Channel. Man, now I want to go down to MGM Studios. It's not even called that anymore, but I want to go down there and take that tour.
Disney.
Go check out the sound stages.
Studios.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not. I really wish they would have kept, recording the shows there. I mean, Nickelodeon did it right for many years. Like that was their big thing at Universal Studios.
They're not there anymore either.
No,
though,
they're
so.
not. And the fun
Yeah.
colored orange buildings and stuff are now pale gray. So
Yeah.
all the fun 90s stuff is gone. But,
Yep.
that was a good time.
It was.
Going down, being able to see, being part of the show.
Well, for those of us who live on the East Coast, right? I mean, getting down to Florida is a whole lot easier than getting to LA to see, Hollywood. So I get it. And it made a lot of sense. And they did some animation there too. But at the end of the day, I mean, the business is centered around Hollywood. So some people didn't want to fly to Florida for a 6-month project or whatever. So it's too bad, but it was good while it lasted.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, let's see. Should we take a look at the mailbag this week? See if we got anything? Let's see. Let me check the text line. Oh,
let's see.
Let's take a look at the text line. Our new text line.
Nice. We got a text message in.
Oh, it doesn't have a name, but we have a message from a mystery listener, a secret admirer.
From 6523 Lewiston, Maine. Love the show. Keep up the great work.
All right. Short and sweet.
Thank you very
To the
much,
point.
Lewiston. We love you.
Whoever you are in Lewiston. Well, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I guess it works.
So I think that just about wraps up this episode. You can follow us on Instagram at tworaddads. You can follow us on Facebook at tworaddads. You can send us an email with your comments, your love for the show, or
your complaints. I mean, you can complain
yeah,
too. That's fine.
we have thick skin. We're just doing this for fun, so we don't care.
Yeah.
Or you can send us some show topic ideas.
Yeah, we'd definitely love to hear what people want to hear.
Yeah, and you can do that. Sending it to tworaddads@outlook.com.
If you weren't with us last week, we've launched a brand new texting option. If you check your show notes for each episode in your app of choice, there should be a link that says text the show. Click that and text the show.
Don't forget to rate us 5 stars. Show us all the loves. Subscribe.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Tell a friend.
Tell all your friends. Tell your
all your
coworkers.
friends. Yeah.
Tell people you hate.
Yeah. You tell them to. Yeah. If you hate us, tell everyone you hate.
We don't care.
Yeah. The downloads all count. We're good with it.
Yep. Hate listening, that's fine. We enjoy it just as much as the people that love us. Yep. So until next time,
stay rad. Using the whole mouse ear thing would be just asking for trouble, I feel like.
Okay.
'Cause I can't use like mouse ears.
Why not?
Well, I can't totally rip off their logo.
You rip off every other logo.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. That's true. Maybe we want to get sued by Disney. It's good press.
Do the original one. That's public domain.
Well, yeah, that's right. I'll just put Steamboat Willie on there.